Alright, so today I'm going to show you guys how to make a fruit pie. Now, before I actually show you how to make the pie, I first must tell you that there are two different types of pies. Your first pie is your single crust pie, which is like a coconut cream pie, a chocolate pie, a pumpkin pie, etc. And then your second type of pie is your double crust pie, which is like a chicken pot pie, an apple pie, basically every type of fruit pie, besides like banana cream. So yeah, those are your two types of pies. And now for the actual pie making process. The first step of making a pie is to make your crust. Now, in order to make a crust, you will need 2 cups of flour, so 8 of these, 1.5 cups of Crisco all vegetable shortening, so 6 of these, 2 teaspoons of pure sea salt, so 2 of these, and then you'll need just some water, usually like probably a cup or 2, but it kind of depends on how dense you want the pie to be. Now, the first thing you must do in order to make the pie crust is to mix in your flour, your shortening, and your salt. Mix that all together, and then it should form into a little round ball, just like this. And then what you'll need to do is add water for it to fully compress into a ball, because if you don't add water, it will just kind of flop around everywhere, and you obviously don't want that. So once your dough looks like this, you will need to cut it in half. This half will be for the top of the pie, and this half will be for the bottom. You then flatten them out a bunch, and yeah, just flatten them out a bunch. Now you may ask yourself, how big do I need to flatten out the bottom of the dough? Now you need to make it big enough so it can fit around the whole pie sheet. Obviously I'm not going to do it, or this video would take forever. Your top part of your dough should be slightly smaller than your bottom part. Now since the dough is made and ready, we can now move on to the filling. In order to make the filling, you will need as many berries or fruits as you need. For this, I'm just going to be using blackberries. As much sugar as you want. This kind of entirely depends on personal preference, but I myself like to use a ton of sugar because sugar tastes good. And then your last ingredient will be cornstarch. Now this also entirely depends on how you want your pie to turn out, but personally I like it to be pretty thick, so I add a bunch of this stuff. The next step is to put all of your ingredients for the filling in a bowl, and then you just swoosh it up a bunch and mix it up until it looks good. And once you do that, you're set for the final step. I should also mention that early on in the pie making process, you should preheat your oven to 375 degrees. If you don't do that, you'll have to wait like 15 minutes, and that's always a pain in the butt. Now, the final phase is to put everything together. So, you put the bottom dough on the bottom, all the way around, like I said, and then you put your tasty filling in the middle, and then you put your top dough on top and cover everything up so your filling won't leak out, which is also another pain in the butt. The final step is to get your beautiful looking pie and then just yeet it into the oven for 45 minutes at, like I said, 375 degrees. You should also let it sit for probably like an hour, just so it cools down. And then, once you're done with that, it should look something like this. This is probably one of the worst pies I've ever made, but it's better than nothing. You should also put some sugar on top, which also makes it sweeter. And now you're done. Enjoy your pie, even if it sucks. Because for the first time, it probably will. And also, one thing I should say is that you probably need to clean up your kitchen, or your mother will literally kill you. So make sure you do that.